This was it, my last trip across the Mississippi River on the St. Francisville ferry. I've made many rides on this old boat, and despite the inconvenience of waiting for the ferry, I've always enjoyed my time on Old Man River. As I made this crossing from New Roads to St. Francisville just a few weeks ago, I knew the ferry would soon be shutting down when the new Audubon Bridge just downstream opened later this year. But what I did not realize was that just a few days after this crossing, the ferry would permanently close, as state officials pushed up the opening of the new bridge because of high water on the Mississippi River. So last week I decided to retrace my route for the opportunity to ride across the new bridge and say my final goodbyes to the old ferry. Joining me on this bittersweet journey were my friends Michael Abity, better known to Baton Rouge area riders as Michael T., and Motorcycle Awareness Campaign founder and national president Warren Broussard. Also joining us were my regular riding buddies Brian Niebuhr and Brent Kelly. Once again, our route would take us west to Bayou Grosse, then north to Foss River and New Roads. This time, however, we would cross the Mississippi on the new Audubon Bridge instead of the old ferry. It was another one of those perfect riding days. In fact, there was a chill in the air, something unusual for the first week of May. So cool, in fact, that I had to borrow one of the guys' t-shirts to help supplement my wardrobe. Yeah, that's the bottom of a t-shirt, not an apron. I don't do aprons. The New Roads approach to the bridge is straight and smooth, as this new section of LA 10 cuts through forested woodlands as it heads toward the river. Then suddenly, there it is, Louisiana's newest Mississippi River crossing, the John James Audubon Bridge. But don't get too accustomed to calling it that. There's a move in the legislature to change the name to the Lejeune-Barrow Bridge in honor of two Marine Corps commandants, General John Lejeune and General Robert Barrow. Lejeune grew up in New Roads and Barrow in St. Francisville. At any rate, this is a beautiful structure, the longest cable-stayed bridge in the Western Hemisphere. Crossing it for the first time was a thrill, but now it was time to say goodbye to the old ferry. The sign at the St. Francisville crossing said it all. And from the looks of the rising Mississippi, it had not closed a moment too soon. Just 1 week after crossing the river by ferry, this landing was now surrounded by water, and the swollen river was making its way toward the roadway itself. Climbing onto the now abandoned ferry landing offered us a great view of the river, which now looked more like a lake. As I stared out at Old Man River, I realized just how much I would miss the old ferry. It was like a floating rest stop, one that gave me a chance to get off my bike and rest for a while and enjoy the river the way Mark Twain saw it. As we rode away, I couldn't help but think of an old Mark Twain quote. It was Twain who said, "The Mississippi River will always have its own way. No engineering skill can persuade it to do otherwise." Something I would think about again as I headed back north just 1 week later. For LA Rider, this is TW.